Welcome to Rise Up. I'm Ali Halal.
Welcome to Rise Up, Irfan Alamgir.
And we're joined here with Adil Al-Khuli for our Human Rights Report of the day.
How are you, Ali? Good to be here.
Good to see you again, Adil.
Thank you so much. So the latest updates today come from Turkey. As maybe some of the Ansar know, yesterday the Divine Just State magazine, they released the latest article on the arrest of 3 Iranian members of the faith in Turkey. Now, this case is very significant. It's incredibly heartbreaking because these 3 were part of the 104 who were arrested in 2023. So this is a re-arrest of members of the 104 in Turkey, proving again the point that we were making from the beginning, that contrary to public beliefs or popular beliefs, Turkey is not a safe country. And members of the faith are not able to safely practice their faith. So imagine going after everything they went through as part of the 104 in Turkey, being arrested, the events at the border. Obviously, they remained in Turkey after they were released, after the Turkish courts ruled that they were innocent and dropped the charges, of course, after a lot of public international pressure. They obviously had to remain in Turkey, and the decision that they made, of course, that they wanted to stay in Turkey in a legal way. So they applied for international protection, for asylum, and were asylum seekers living in Turkey, again, respecting the law, following the law, as the group has always done from day one. Mansour and Saeed and Sajjad and Ali Lakzaeian, these 3 members are now detained in Turkey for nothing else but doing missionary work, for publicly manifesting their faith. So Turkey saying we are a safe country, apply for asylum here. They apply for asylum here, they get arrested. You know, it's the same thing over and over again. They say claim asylum through the legal official entry point. The 104 go to the legal official entry point to apply for asylum. They get pulled back, beaten, and detained. So it's over and over again. Turkey is punishing the 104 for following the law, for doing what is within the law. Obviously, it is completely within the law to manifest your faith. And Sajjad and Ali and Mansour were doing just that. They were simply putting up a poster of their faith. And in the Divine Just State magazine, it has the pictures of them. So to be literally abducted from your home for putting up a poster about the faith, it's just insanity. So the police, they went to their homes and they asked them to come for interrogation. Yeah, these are the 3 members. And of course, you can imagine how horrific the conditions are in Iran. So they have already fled. You know, they've already, went through so much to go from Iran, flee for their safety to Turkey, and then in Turkey getting arrested again as part of the 104, getting beaten, being in horrific conditions for more than half a year. And imagine finally coming out, finally, trying to build your life back up, and then, again, authorities come, knock on your door after you have already applied for international protection and drag you, throw you in a detention center and charge you with threatening national security again, with spreading a new religion, with the putting up promotional material. And the lawyers that were on the case were saying everything that the procedure that was taken against the 3 were absolutely illegal. And it just shows there was so much, it was really vindicative, because instead of just keeping them in the detention center as they should, the legal proceedings that to allow the court to look through the case, to decide on the merits of the case, they just started moving them from one detention center to the other, without any reason, to the point that and there is, as part of the article, there is a testimony from Mansour calling from the detention center and saying that they're not telling us why they're moving us, to the point that the last camp where they are at the moment, they put them near the Iranian border, mentally, traumatizing them that, you're about to get deported. So, because around them, they're just taking one person after the other and deporting them.
Yeah.
Absolutely horrendous.
Torture tactics taken from Nazi Germany even, because this reminds me of the fact that in the Holocaust, when they used to come and collect certain people who were detained in these horror chambers, they would take those, the trucks would arrive. And the trucks arriving meant that they were being taken to a different place where they would undergo gas chambers and other forms of torture. And just the arrival of those trucks used to make people automatically, the sound of them used to make people urinate, used to make people go into like convulsions. And these are very definitely psychological techniques that it seems they're utilizing in Turkey, which is absolutely horrifying to hear.
And not just that, they intentionally put them in very close proximity with ISIS members in the same detention center. So in his audio, he's saying that, we were in a cell with the 7 or 8 ISIS members who, of course, they knew that these are members of the Ahmadi religion of peace and light. And, of course, they were threatening them. They were calling them kuffar. So, and there's absolutely no protection from the administration. On the contrary, they intentionally did that. So Mansour, in his audio, he was calling out for his case to be known, for human rights organizations to get involved, because one, they should not be threatened with deportation because he's an asylum seeker. 2, the court is still looking into his case. So if the court is still looking into his case, the actual detention center has no right to deport him. Yes. And of course, the other aspect is the extreme risk on his life if the 3 of them get deported back to Iran, and we know at the moment what's happening in Iran. And on top of that, of course, the risk on their lives being in the detention center. So it's a horrific situation, and it's shameful that this happens again in Turkey. But it shows that the battle keeps going on, and without this work, without the pressure and the international pressure, they wait for things to calm down and then immediately start targeting her and harassing the members again.
So many human rights violations, one after the other, so shamelessly done. And like you said, after they've already made themselves look quite bad with what they did initially to the 104, and they had to retract their statements about what they said, and they had to allow them to be released, clearly showing that they made a mistake detaining them at all. And now for them to repeat this with the exact same people who were involved before, it's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah. And we'll continue, of course, again, like we did with the 104, to continue make noise about it, make it very public that this is very specific targeting of a religious minority, specifically trying to find any way to make their life, hell, really.
Yeah, it's like they're sitting down, they're like, well, they've come from these hellish conditions. How can we make things even worse?
Absolutely.
So that they can never think about even trying to flee persecution. I mean, the fact that they're introducing them to ISIS members who are notorious for committing the most brutal acts of violence against people who are of the Shia faith, for example. Imagine what they're going to do to these individuals from this Ahmadi religion of peace and light who believe XYZ. God knows what kind of propaganda they're running at the moment. I mean, all they're saying is the Mahdi's here, so let's support him. But maybe this is enough of a trigger to make them go back to Iran, where perhaps things may be, certain death looms for them. This is exactly why we have you on the show, Hadil, and why you make such a strong impact when people are listening to you. And we had a member of your team here yesterday, Sister Laura, made her introduction, so we'll probably be having her around more often, inshallah, in the future, to discuss these things, because people need to know.
Exactly.
They need to be aware of what is going on the ground and the conditions for the refugees and asylum seekers that all the scriptures say, be hospitable towards, open your hearts towards. And these people are literally entering into torture chambers. I mean, I can't think of a more apt word than that to describe.
One day they will be written in history books with that name. Right now people will deny it. But one day it will be remembered that these detainment centers were in fact torture chambers.
Yes.
Yeah. No, it's our duty, not just as human beings, but as members of the faith, and you know, as people who, you know, we have the honor to work under Abu Sadiq alayhi salam, and of course, you know, just seeing how he guided us in every plight that has befallen on any member of the faith. He would never he would do everything that can be done. You know, just anyone just touching one hair on the body of one Ansar, he would make things very loud and clear and do everything that we can to protect them and grant them safety, not just for the members of the faith, but for any oppressed person. So me and the team were all very, very lucky to be able to do this work under the guidance of Abu Sadiq.
Amazing. And also thank you for signposting the audience to the Divine Just State magazine, because this article was published just a couple of days ago, and now it's online for anybody who's interested. They can read up into it, get the more specific details. But it really is great to have you come in, and members of your team now come in and speak about these things, because we need to tell people the way the world is, so that when judgment comes, we can't say that we live the ideal life. I mean, far from it. I mean, the people have to highlight these criminal acts against these completely helpless, marginalized people.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And I would encourage, of course, anybody who's listening to us to get Mansour's voice out. I mean, it's not easy to make a phone call from the detention center. You know, imagine in these conditions. He went through so much, and then on top of that, risked, you know, getting access to that phone, getting his voice out, telling his story. And I think it's the least we can do is to amplify his words and take it out. So find the article, spread it, share it, and do everything you can to get the word out.
Thank you so much, Adil, and well said. Go to divinejuststate.com to find out exactly what happened, and to find the voice recording of Brother Mansour, and do what you can. Share it on your own social media. Spread it out there. Inshallah, that will make a very big difference. Thank you, Adil, once more.
Thank you so much.
And we're going to be going to a quick break. Please stay tuned. We will be right back.